Jim, you have gone to Folk Alliance and you've gone to the International Bluegrass Music Association conferences. Talk about somebody who's got like an active Albany-based, performance thing going on, and then you want to start taking it farther afield. Why did you decide to go to conferences? How did you approach it? What did you get out of it?
Yeah, I think the big one was IBMA down in Nashville. When we first went to that, probably 8 years ago, I think. And boy, did I ever learn a lot about the whole aspects of the business. And I mean, my first visit, really, I was just starstruck, because here you are with all the tremendous players in the bluegrass, and you're talking to them. I mean, they're like so accessible. They're just normal people, and like Michael Cleveland. I mean, I can go on and on about that, but so I go to the first year, and I get nothing out of it because I'm just like, wow, I was like a fan going as a fan. So then I started to figure out little by little, well, next year I got to make sure that I do this, and I start strategizing. So now, and Peg and myself went this past September, and it was so successful. What I do now, as far as the strategy, attending these conferences, they'll list people, attendees that sign up that are going to be at the conference. So I review the list and see who I see on there that I, number one, already know, or that I want to meet, or that so I see who's there, and I start marking that down. Then I'll go to the other aspect, or the other menu that has the workshops. And I'll get my schedule out for the workshops. I got to get to this workshop, then at 10 o'clock got to be in this room, 103C, and I mean, you're all over the place, but just by being there, just by being present and showing your face without even opening my mouth, things, people get to recognize you. You have your name tag on, big and bold, and you're walking around. But that's how I got my way working into IBMA. Through IBMA.
IBMA is International Bluegrass Music Association.
Yes.
Which is a huge and wonderfully vibrant organization.
It's really, it is tremendous. And it was in Nashville. Now it's in Raleigh, North Carolina, and it's improved really tremendously by moving to Raleigh, because now the whole city of Raleigh opens their arms and welcomes everyone to do with IBMA. It's quite an experience. But again, so now I have a strategy when I go in there and I meet people, and this past year was the most successful of all time, because when I first went, number one, I didn't know who the songwriters were. After I went for a couple times, I got to know who they were, maybe exchanged some hellos and some things. And now this past time, I was actually approached by probably, and I won't get into the names, but Nashville songwriters, that one of which wrote the Song of the Year, and they want to collaborate with me now. And it's just by my being there and just, I don't know, because I'm a very reserved person, and I have a very difficult time reaching out to people. I did all throughout my life, but
find that adorable.
That's where agents come in.
That's really. But just by going, I can't stress enough to make that transition. I mean, and then I'll turn it over to NERFA, and NERFA's been wonderful as well. And
NERFA is a Northeast Regional Folk Alliance, and that happens in central Connecticut. It includes all of eastern Canada and eastern U.S.
And Sarah has actually helped me in many ways strategize those NERFA conferences. I'm talking to Sarah, who's that one over there? or which one is so, and things like that. So I can't stress the conferences enough. I don't even know. Was that the question?
That was the question. And Karl, I just want to be sure, you haven't done conferences conferences?
No.
Have you? Okay,
No,
that's
not
right
yet.
on.
Could I just interject one other thing about conferences that I've sort of learned from other artists that I represent, where they got selected to showcase, but didn't have an agent on the ground present, and in the end, that ends up really not doing anything to further their career. Like, because as you're, wrapping up your set and cleaning your gear up, people are exiting, and that's where you want your agent handing out CDs and cards and, fetching people at the door and communicating with them, because otherwise they just leave, like they're on to the next thing. Chances are they're going to totally forget about you. So if you are selected for an official showcase, find somebody to represent you, even if they're not really an agent, because you need somebody on the ground at a conference.
That is a great point. That exactly happened to us.
Did it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We were chosen. We did an official showcase in front of probably 1,000 people, and really nothing came of it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
It's
the
such a
next
shame.
group comes on, and it's bing, boom, boom, boom.